mean, probably the best experience I have, and the one that I use to tell people, try to get through it without crying, was Ashes. She was my first fur baby. I had her for almost 21 years. And the day that we had to put her down, my husband calls me at work, and he's like, hey, there's something wrong with the cat. And he didn't grow up with pets, so for him to call me and be like, hey, something's wrong, I was like, okay, what's going on with her? So, she, I guess, had had a stroke and couldn't use her legs. So I called the vet and I was like, hey, there's something going on with her. Can we bring her in? Unfortunately, that day, Dr. Tuma was out with pneumonia. She was the doctor that was on call. Or not on call, but here. So they're like, unfortunately, we don't have a doctor on. So, if it's an emergency, they gave me the names of some emergency vets that we could take her to. Or they're like, if you think it can wait till tomorrow, we can set up an appointment tomorrow. I'm at work in Westchester. I'm like, I don't know. It's like, let me see how the day plays out, see how she is when I get home, and we'll decide then. So I get home. She seems like she's fine. My husband tells me that she had another episode where she couldn't, it seemed like she had fallen over, couldn't use her legs, and then she was trying to hide. So I'm like, okay, that's not a good sign for a cat. So called the vet back or called Pine Creek back, and was like, hey, here's what's going on with her. I know we don't have a doctor on site, but, kind of looking for some sort of, I don't want to say direction, but just some insight. Because I know cats can hide things really well. So it's like, is this something I need to be really worried about? Is it something that we could have wait till tomorrow? And again, with cats, it's so hard to tell. So, they, again, said if I was really worried, I could do an emergency vet or bring her in tomorrow. So I decided to wait for a while because with her being diabetic, we had some issues with her keeping her medicine down. So I thought maybe her glucose levels were just off, and maybe that's what was causing some issues with her. So let it go for a little bit, was kind of debating back and forth, and finally I was like, okay, I know Tex can do a glucose check. So I called back and said, can I please bring her in for a glucose check? Let's see where her numbers are to kind of let me know whether I need to do something more or not. And they're like, sure, absolutely. So I brought her in. Zim was the tech that had checked her out. And I think Zim could tell that something was wrong with her when we brought her in, because instead of doing an ear prick, she actually drew blood. So I don't know if from the way Ashes looked, combined with maybe how the blood looked, she goes to the back room to run blood, comes back in. Next thing I know, she's offering me to do FaceTime with Dr. Tuma to check out Ashes to see what's going on with her. So I was very surprised by that, because I'm like, here the doctor's homesick with pneumonia, and she's willing to FaceTime to check out my cat and see what's going on. So long story short, they checked her out. There could be a couple different things wrong with her. Because Zim had already drawn blood, they're like, we can run the blood work to see, more exactly what's going on. So we decided to do that, and it came back that she had internal bleeding. So I'm like, okay, she's almost a 21-year-old cat. She's lived a very good life. We've taken very good care of her, so we decided to put her down. So Zim walked us through the whole process of what we needed to do. We were there for about an hour and a half, past closing time. Never throughout the whole appointment, never did I ever feel rushed, hurried. It's like they were there just supporting me through the whole process with whatever I felt was the right thing to do. So that spoke so much about, the care that this staff has for the animals and the people. So that it's been almost 2 years, and I'm still, very, very happy and surprised with how they treated us and how they helped us out. That, I wouldn't take my pets anywhere else, no matter where I lived.